Estamos de volta. O nosso convidado esta noite, o antigo Mayor de Fall River, William Flanagan. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
In politics, who is your idol, if we can call it an idol? But who do you most look up to in politics?
Well, it's always been John Kennedy, even though I was not alive for President Kennedy's terms in office. You look at his presidency, being from Massachusetts, serving in the military, being involved in Massachusetts government. I feel there's a connection from the people of Massachusetts, especially Fall River. His wedding cake was made in the city of Fall River. He was married in Newport to Jackie Kennedy. And you look at the Kennedy's term in the White House, even though his presidency was cut short due to an assassin's bullet in Texas, the space program, the Cuban Missile Crisis, getting people to do more for their country, you have a level of admiration. And you would think how different or maybe better off we would have been as a nation if his presidency wasn't cut short, if he was able to serve out a second term. And with the state of politics as they are today, the federal government being shut down, Fall River going through a recall, you can probably use more people like Jack Kennedy back in government.
Absolutely. We'll talk about something else that you've supported quite a bit and that you've worked towards. Just recently, Governor Gina Raimondo in Rhode Island announced her intention to move forward with legalizing recreational marijuana in the state of Rhode Island. That is already the case in Massachusetts,
Sure.
but you were an advocate for this way before it became legal, right?
Being able to work in the marijuana industry has allowed me to see a whole new side of the cannabis debate. As a former prosecutor, as somebody who has a background in criminal justice, as a former mayor, I wasn't always a proponent of legalizing marijuana. But there was an opportunity for me to work in the industry. And like anything I do, I study and I learn. So I got fully immersed in the marijuana industry. Now I lead a drug-free life. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke tobacco. So personally, I don't engage in any cannabis use, but I've seen what it can do for people. If you want to use cannabis recreationally, you want to smoke a joint, I don't have a problem with that as a person. Just don't affect anybody else. Do it in your own privacy and don't push it onto anybody else. I think that would be the majority viewpoint. But from a medicinal standpoint, I've been able to see how it has helped people. People with arthritis, people with cancer, people with sleep apnea, people with diabetes, people with high blood pressure, children who suffer from seizure disorder. I've seen how it's been able to give them a better quality of life. From an economic standpoint, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It provides jobs and taxes for communities. So I support it if done correctly, and I see more of the benefits of it than the negatives.
Talking about what another thing that you do, which is very popular now, your own talk show on WSAR. That's been going on for how long now?
About 3 years now.
3 years.
And time flies when you're having fun. And we've been able to build up the show. It's Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m., WSAR, 1480 AM or WSAR.com. And it's the Will Flanagan Show. And it's become popular. People seem to like it. And we get a lot of calls, we get a lot of feedback, and I try to keep the show informative. Entertaining, but also informative. I cover national news, local news, international news, some pop culture, and it's really what's on my mind for that day. Typically on any given day I'm in court from 9 to 4, and then once my court day ends, I go do the radio show, and I've enjoyed it. It's been fun.
Excellent. Was it ever anything you thought you'd be doing?
Yeah, it was actually. As a child, I was always fascinated with talk shows. I was really excited to come here and do the show with you tonight. And I love people, I'm a people person. And the people call into the show, I have a lot of loyal callers, even some first-time callers. And just being in the community when people stop you and say, hey, I listened to your show today, or great show, or, why don't you talk about this, because, I think the people would like to hear about this as a subject. It makes you feel good inside.
Since leaving office, have you noticed that any people that maybe at the time were against you have now come up to you and changed their story a little bit?
Fascinated by that, Ricardo, really fascinated by that. I was a very popular mayor. Before I lost my election, I won with over 70% of the vote in 2013. Mm-hmm. And those numbers really hadn't been seen in local elections in quite some time. And I think in that small snapshot, people maybe had an image of me or a thought of me that wasn't true, based upon what they may have heard or what they read or what they may have even thought based upon what they knew at the time. But over the last 4 years being out of office, people have got to know me that maybe didn't know me. Those people who knew me, have always stood by me and supported me, friends, family, colleagues, people who know who I am. Those who thought they may have knew me, I think look back and say, something, he's actually a pretty good guy. And I've had people come up to me and say, I've never voted for you, but if you were to run, I would vote for you now. I've had people who were not supportive of me as mayor hire me as their attorney. So it's time makes difference. Mm-hmm. And I think when people actually maybe get the truth, it changes what they may have thought of you at one time.
Have you ever been able to understand why a group of and I'll say it, I can say it, I'm not here as a journalist, I'm here as a talk show host, ill-willed people looking to take you out of office, what the reasoning was behind that? Yeah. Because obviously, once you get a group formed, you can then, tell people what you want to tell people to try to convince them to vote in their direction. But you were a popular mayor, just like you just finished saying, winning by 70%. Why did a small group of people at the time decide that they wanted you out of office?
It's politics, it's politics. And there you have winners and you have losers in elections. And, a group of people, and I think it was maybe 10, 15 people, it started out as a small handful, were able to use a very archaic, a very old law in the city of Fall River that was never used before, and that was the recall statute. And there was this pulse in the community that, okay, there's this unpopular purple bag program, Flanagan's responsible for it, and they were able to promote a message that, okay, if we remove Flanagan, if we vote Mayor Flanagan out, things are going to go back and there'll be no more purple bags. And I think that was really the apex of their argument, the tip of the iceberg. And then, as time eroded, they picked up some steam, and going into the recall, Sutter, the DA at the time, ran, and he was also popular too, and he was able to edge me out and get a few more votes than me, and I finished second to him. So, looking back on it, going into politics, it's your job's not guaranteed, right? Every 2 years as the mayor, you can lose your job, and I did. So I look back on it and say, it was political, it's politics, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Had you still been in office today, what things do you think would be different in Fall River?
Well, we would have continued to work on our building blocks, on our platform, bringing in jobs, improving education, improving the streets of Fall River. One of the places I think there could be improvement in the community is the roadways. A lot of potholes, a lot of sidewalks are cracked. Infrastructure, I think, needs an entire upgrade in the city. and continuing to bring, promoting the image of the community. One of the things I'm disappointed with is that in Fall River, one of the things we were able to highlight were the festivals and the concerts and getting people to get out of the house and do something in the community. Great Feast of the Holy Ghost has been around for generations. That's a beautiful thing in Fall River. To do events like that, give people something to do. You know, we just went through the New Year. There were no New Year festivities. Coming up now, you know, the winter's here. People are in their house. They're looking for something to do. I feel other communities are outpacing us on the civic pride. We need to do more to get people involved in their community. One of the things I was really proud of, Ricardo, is we built up the neighborhood groups. We encouraged people to get involved, whether it was planting a tree, picking up trash, painting a fence, going to a PTO. The more people you got involved in the community, the more of a stake they had in the city's success. I feel we're missing some of that today.
How's the United States of America, William?
I'm proud to be an American. You know, Donald Trump has been an interesting president. And with Trump, people either hate him or they love him.
There's no
no in between. There's no median with him. But I look at America, and I still believe it is the greatest country in the world. And I've done a lot of traveling in the last 4 years, and I've been to other parts of the world. And I'm always happy to come back home. I'm always happy to come back to the United States. I'm always happy to come back to Fall River. And no matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you support the wall or you don't support the wall, it's America. And America's always pulled through. It'll pull through again. And I still believe in my heart, you know, it is the greatest place on God's green earth.
What do you do on your free time?
You know, I love to go
If you have any free
time.
time.
I try to carve out some free time. I do. It's important to, no matter how busy your schedule is, you got to get some free time. If I can take a vacation, I will. But, you know, it's just like simple things. Going to a nice restaurant, going out to eat, going to a movie, even maybe just laying on the couch and watching television. You know, you need some time to relax and to recharge the batteries. Especially in today's world, people are go, 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 go. They're nonstop. And if you get a chance just to take a breather and relax, I encourage that.
Excellent. Music. I know you're a big hip hop fan.
Yeah.
We're pretty much from the same generation. We are from the same generation,
Sure.
so we grew up to the same music, depending on musical tastes. But who are some of your favorites?
I like all types of music, and I'll listen to everything. I'll listen to hip hop. I'll listen to classic rock, 50s, 60s, 70s. From any given day, I can listen to Elvis Presley, to Frank Sinatra, to Aerosmith, to Snoop Dogg. So, you know, I run the gamut on how I'm feeling that day, and that's the type of music that I listen to. But I do enjoy going to concerts. And I like anything with a good beat to it. If it has a good beat, even if I don't know the words, I'll listen to it and enjoy it.
Excellent. Any crazy stories from the radio? I know that sometimes we get some callers that are quite animated and a little more out there than others. So any particular story that stood out throughout these last 3 years?
Well, the radio is interesting because you get a very diverse population. And I've been able to build up an audience outside of Fall River. So people will call me in New Bedford, people will call me from California, Florida, because they're able to listen to it on the internet. When you go to WSAR.com, they're able to tune in from anywhere in the world. So people do, they tune in from anywhere in the world. And I'm always fascinated from where some of our callers call in from. But it's very interesting. I have one caller that calls in, and she's in her 90s, Margaret. Everybody knows Margaret.
I think I remember Margaret from when I worked at HTV.
And
Not that
she's
she called our side, but I remember hearing her when I was walking through the hallways.
Super Democrat, super Democrat. loved Obama, huge supporter of Obama, and you know, she pictures Trump as a villain, maybe with the long mustache and the black hat and cape. She thinks Trump's a villain. So it's interesting because Margaret will call in and promote the Democratic viewpoint on issues. And then we have some Republican callers that call in, and to them, they say God ordained Donald Trump, that God put Donald Trump as the president of the United States of America. So it's always interesting to see, you know, just within 2 minutes, you get the pro-Democrat, you get the pro-Republican, and they go head to head, just like the real world.
Now, William, you did say that you wouldn't rule out possibly in the future a run for public office. Would it be in Fall River? Are you looking for something state level, national level? Any thoughts on that yet?
Yeah, no thoughts on it yet. You know, I try to focus day by day and, you know, take life as it comes at me. But being involved in public service, being somebody who cares about people, if there's ever an opportunity to get involved as an elected official, and if I think I can do a good job, I would pursue it. But you don't always have to be a city councilor or a mayor or a governor or a president to make a difference. Average, ordinary, everyday people who can get involved can make a difference too. So you don't got to be the mayor to make your hometown better. You don't got to be the president to make your country better. People step up every day and serve in all different ways.
Excellent. Any message to the Portuguese community, those that stood by you through thick and thin?
The Portuguese people are my people. Not only, you know, am I proud to be Portuguese, but, you know, growing up in Fall River, I love the Portuguese people and the culture, whether it's the Portuguese food, whether it's the festivals, whether it's, you know, being on Portuguese TV, the telenovelas, whatever it may be. You know, it's part of my DNA.
Mm-hmm. Favorite Portuguese dish?
I got to go Portuguese steak. Beef
It's
a
a classic.
portuguesa. Yeah, you know, you get the batatas fritas, you cut them. I like the circular fries.
Yep.
The steak in the clay pot with the molho and the ovo and the pimenta. It's, I get mine medium well, maybe well done. I know that's not the right way to eat a steak, but that's how I
We
do
won't
it.
judge you on
Yeah,
that.
okay.
We won't judge you on that. I don't eat steak like that. I won't judge you. My wife does, so. Very good. Mayor, thank you very much for coming
Ricardo,
on the
thank
show.
you for having
It was a
me, man.
pleasure.
Great to be here.
And let's do this again.
I love it. Thank you. And
Further down the line, we'll have you back on the show.
congratulations to all your success here. People
very
love the show, and it's a big hit. And I'm honored to be here with you tonight.
I'm honored to have you, and congratulations on the success of your show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. E assim estivemos com o antigo mayor de Fall River, William Flanagan, em estúdio esta noite, a contar a sua história, falar de outros assuntos. Foi um prazer, sem dúvida. Assim chegamos ao final de mais uma Hora Quente. Voltaremos amanhã com mais um programa para si. Boa noite e até amanhã, se Deus quiser. Tchau, tchau.